Matisse Bruer here at the YWCA South Florida. I'm the Director of Racial and Gender Equity Advancement, and I'm here today to speak with you about Week Without Violence 2021. So yesterday officially kicked off Week Without Violence. For those of you who aren't familiar, Week Without Violence is YWCA's annual awareness and action campaign aimed at educating people about gender-based violence, finding ways to support those who have experienced it, and encouraging advocacy and activism around important legislation. Yesterday's theme was Imagine a World Without Violence, where we asked ourselves, what does that world actually look like? Why is ending gender-based violence important? Why do I stand with survivors? Or as a survivor, I'm thriving because. So for me, ending gender-based violence is important because 47% of transgender and gender non-conforming people will experience sexual assault in our lifetime. And up to half of all murders of transgender people are carried out by dates or partners. We deserve to live full lives free from violence and fear. And so does everyone. So that's why it's important to me. And since today is Tuesday, Take Action Tuesday, what can you do? So today is a day of action. We are challenging ourselves and our followers to take action by calling your legislatures to urge them to support the reauthorization of two important pieces of legislation. So the first one is Violence Against Women Act, the reauthorization of, you might have heard it as the VAWA, also known as HR 1620. And the second one is the Family Violence and Prevention and Services Act, the FVPSA, also known as HR 2119. So reauthorizing the VAWA is critical as it maintains safety protections important to all survivors, particularly women of color and other marginalized communities. The FVPSA provides funding for critical services that survivors and their families need when they are at their most vulnerable, such as housing, emergency shelter, transportation, childcare, and medical and legal counseling. So the VAWA has already passed the House and is now in the Senate, while the FVPSA, I don't know why that's so hard to say, is still in the House. So what can you do? Call, tweet, email, whatever you have to do. You could even send real mail if you want to call your senator and let them know that you want them to support the reauthorization of the VAWA, you want them to pass it. Do the same thing for your House representative to tell them to co-sponsor and support the FVPSA. If you don't know who your U.S. representative is, be sure to visit our website, ywcasouthflorida.org, and click on the Week Without Violence landing page. There we have information, including a zip code-based lookup tool, so you can determine who your U.S. representative is. So what about local legislative bodies? So as far as Florida, in the session we're in 2021, there's good news and there's bad news. Fortunately, CSSB 70, Domestic Violence Centers, a bill prohibiting the unlawful disclosure of certain information about domestic violence centers, passed the Florida House and the Florida Senate and was approved by the governor. So that's good there. So what that bill was about was basically prohibiting people from sharing information, taking pictures, things that might identify a location as a center. Because as we know, protecting the anonymity and the identity of people who are in domestic violence shelters is critical. Unfortunately, a different bill, SB 186, Domestic Violence, did not make it out of the Senate. This bill would have prohibited the sale of firearms and ammunition to persons convicted of misdemeanor domestic violence, and required that they, upon conviction, surrender all firearms and ammunition. So as we know, a woman is 5 times more likely to be murdered when her abuser has access to a gun. Preventing access to firearms by people convicted of domestic violence would have greatly impacted this trend. And although that bill died, you can still contact your state senators and representatives to tell them how important legislation like that is to you. You can also find those tools on our landing page with the Florida state rep and the Florida state senators. So, as we know, Florida is a gun-loving state. However, there is quite a bit of research showing there's a trend. If someone has access to a firearm, if there's a firearm in the house, the instances of suicide, instances of domestic violence, instances of accidents and injury, they all drastically increase. So in my opinion, and something as straightforward as someone being convicted of domestic violence, they should rightfully not have access to something that's going to make the home even more unsafe. So bills like that and legislation like that are critically important and definitely need our support in order to be successful. All right, so that is what our Week Without Violence is all about. Let's see what we have on our agenda for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 20th, is Day of Giving. Support your local domestic violence shelters and organizations here in South Florida. Several that we want to highlight are the Safe Space Foundation. This organization operates 4 certified domestic violence shelters in Miami-Dade. The In Transition North and In Transition South. This is by the Junior League of Miami. Another in Broward County, we have Women in Distress. This is supported by the Jim and Jan Morgan Family Center. We're also highlighting Safe House of Seminole. And a couple national organizations are Men Stopping Violence and Women of Color Network. So those are some really good organizations that you can, I urge you to look more into. It's also on our website at ywcasouthflorida.org. Just click on the Week Without Violence page and you will see all of that information as well as the other events that are happening this week. On Thursday, I urge everybody to register for the event Reimagining the Role of Resilience. This is being put on by National, and the rumor is that there's going to be a special guest and a special performance, so definitely look into that. Thank you, everyone, and be sure to tune back in and check our website for other events that are coming up. Oh, I don't want to leave without mentioning Give Miami Day is just around the corner. Again, we have all that up on our website, so check it out, see what this year's theme is, and how you can get involved. Thank you. Have a good day.